What is up, everybody? It is the Oracle at Motion here, bringing you a self-acceptance spread for all of my air signs. Before we get into this reading, I just want to tell you to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to break 1,000 subs this year easily, so be a part of that whole process. Get involved, leave comments on this video, and all of that good stuff. So with all of that being said, we're going to jump into your Oracle cards. So first off, you have the Abysmal. And this is kind of this waterfall, this dangerous circumstance that's going on. And it says danger, insecurity, overwhelm, unpredictability, hazardous conditions, dark emotions, facing fear, courage. So right now you are in this kind of circumstance that might be making you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. Acknowledge it. Don't try to hide from it. Respect that whole process and be aware of it. Make choices that are based in courage and continue on despite maybe the abysmal conditions of a circumstance. So these little lines here are relative to the I Ching, and I threw the I Ching coins and got the changes of it. And it is obstacles. And it says unexpected obstructions, frustration, difficulties, feelings of hopelessness, struggle, discouragement. So there's a lot of water in these two cards. Water is relative to emotions overall. So part of your self-acceptance, air signs, is going to be about your emotions. Air is really about thoughts. So air signs tend to overthink things, and that can kind of create this little ship in the troubled water. It's interesting, too, because it's a sailboat, and there's that whole element of being pushed by the wind. So they're moved by the thoughts, but the thoughts that move them also create all these ripples. So just be mindful of that. And it comes to your sigil, which is caution. It kind of looks like a little spider. And I think that that's kind of a good thing to be aware of. Just be cautious going ahead with things. And it doesn't mean don't take risks or don't take action on stuff. Just think things through overall. Now we are coming to your wire wrap stone. We have labradorite here. I've been knocking a bunch of pendants out. Really kind of happy with how they're coming out. And gonna keep doing it. They will be up on a store on one of my other websites at some point, and when that happens, you will be the first to know. So now we're gonna get into the self-acceptance spread overall, and while we do that, while I shuffle, I'm gonna tell you a couple things. If you haven't already, again, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Gonna break 1,000 subs. Leave a comment in the description. Check out some of my other stuff, like Spiritual Phoenix podcast. Donate to this podcast if you want. Book a reading if you'd like. I can do live readings. I can do email readings. There's all sorts of ways you can help support this. I'm very accessible to converse with, and yeah, make this fun for you. Like, it doesn't have to be this static dude on a YouTube video reading readings. Like, you can get involved in this. It really lies upon you getting involved in it personally and taking action. So the first card that I have in your self-acceptance spread, air signs, is a message from your higher self. So the card that comes up is reunion. This is 6 of vessels. Vessels is all about emotions, and it's interesting because there's all this water here too. You're going to be coming into a reunion with more placid and calm times of things that you want in life. So sometimes when we're going through these big changes in our life, it can be very abysmal like this card. It is kind of like jumping over a waterfall. And then there are obstacles in that whole process. But once we get through everything, things smooth out and there is kind of this sense of coming home. And if we've proceeded with caution, that reunion can be all the sweeter. Caution isn't a negative thing. By default, it just means having a heightened level of awareness, which can be extremely beneficial in the proper circumstances. So just maintain that kind of perspective and then see what comes out from it. So the next thing, who do you think you are comes up in the self-acceptance spread. And you have fulfillment, and it shows you think you're this great person who can fulfill all of your potential, really. And there's this whole sense of balance in these two things. But the interesting thing about this is the character in the middle of these two wands here is gray, and that gray represents kind of the reunion of these opposing sides. It's kind of like the middle pillar or the middle path. So in order to achieve fulfillment, you actually have to strive for this middle, but you have to do it to a point where you don't burn yourself out. And it really is this whole process of growing. And here's the thing. You are capable of this fulfillment, but the more you strive for it, the less likely you're going to be at achieving it. You have to kind of let it take its process. And that's part of the reason where the abysmal can come in, and also obstacles, because the more you try, the more obstacles will come up, and it's going to seem real hopeless. And when this is actually one of the times when maybe you don't want to be so cautious. You want to lively up yourself, in the words of Bob Marley. And when you start living in harmony with your own best interest, that whole fulfillment and that whole unification and reunion and alchemical wedding and all of that is a natural byproduct of that. So maybe don't strive so much to be fulfilled, but have the awareness that you are fulfilled in the moment to the greatest ability, and then work off of that and see what else good comes from it. So the next one, who others think you are. The wheel comes up. So others think of you as this kind of this process that is unfolding. And all of us really are, but air signs, people can really see a lot of growth in you. Actually, out of all the signs that I've kind of done the self-acceptance reading for, this has been the most positive one so far, so I'm kind of cautious to see what comes up in the final card. But yeah, people have a really good opinion of you, and they kind of see the totality of your being, because there's a whole lot going on in that card. It's supposed to represent the Wheel of the Year. And overall, the Wheel of the Year is supposed to represent the various elements and facets of our life, which is the light and the dark, the periods of decrease and increase, and all of that. So you're actually very well-rounded right now, air signs. And that could even be somewhat why you're having the abysmal obstacles come up in your life, because you're about to transgress or to progress to the next level, which again is a time of great caution is needed when we're about to progress to the next level. So just really be mindful of that. And then finally, who you really are. The Page of Stones. So the Page of Stones is relative to Pentacles in traditional tarot, and you're very much this person who's able to kind of navigate through the material world and create abundance. So there's this element of stealth in you, which can be good and can be bad. Sometimes you can be so stealthy that you kind of miss some of the finer nuances of yourself. And sometimes you can be so cautious that you avoid people actually seeing you for who you really are, and they kind of miss this whole great experience of you. It's okay to kind of understand that there's going to be some obstacles and abysmal circumstances, and that caution is needed, but don't become so cautious that you miss out on some of life's finer experiences. And with that, I really hit everything on the head. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, people. I know I've said it 3 times. I've said it that many times because it's important, and it's something very simple you can do, which is a sign of gratitude. Now, if you feel compelled to take your gratitude a little bit further, you can check out my other podcast, the Spiritual Phoenix Podcast, where I do regular interviews and kind of discuss some topics about moving through and progressing through the spiritual path. You can buy my book on Amazon, Vagrant Verses, which is 10 years of poetry. I got a lot of content and stuff going on. Get involved while I'm small, so you can be like, I supported that dude when he was low man on the totem pole, and watch him blossom now. Much love and light, people. Stay tuned next week for another reading. Peace.